I fell in love with the cash.
Alright, what's up guys? I keep getting asked how I do my autotune. So today I'm going to show you how I personally set up my autotune, and I'm also going to show you how to set it up on all versions. So in this video I'm going to break it down for Waves Tune, which is what I use. I'm going to break it down for Autotune Artist, and I'm going to break it down for Autotune EVO. Alright, to start off, for all the songs that I record myself outside of YouTube, I use Waves Tune because I really think it is the best version of autotune out there currently, and there's a couple ways I record with this. So what I do when I'm recording my vocals is when I'm about to record and I have my mic connected and I can hear myself, I set the speed and the note transition both to 0.1, so my autotune is essentially maxed out. The reason I do this is so I don't have to worry about whether I'm actually hitting notes or not, so I can actually focus on whether my bars are good or not. By doing this, I can go in later and change it to whatever I want and change the speed and note transition a bit higher so the autotune sounds more smooth, but in the moment it sounds nice and I don't have to worry about it. For hyperpop songs, I typically have the speed at 2 milliseconds and I have the note transition at 3 milliseconds. I do this because for hyperpop, you don't really have to worry about having more autotune. Like, you can have your note transition and speed lower and it'll still be acceptable because it's kind of like a staple of hyperpop, I guess, that faster autotune is cool. You can keep it low or you could turn it up high, but personally I have it lower. Alright, for indie rock, indie pop, or like indie in general, or any of those genres related to it, I have speed set at 5 milliseconds and note transition set at 7.5. The reason I have a bit higher is with indie in general, you don't want to have too much autotune. Like with hyperpop, you can kind of get away with it if you have too much, but in indie, you really want to focus on like having really smooth vocals. So I typically turn it up a little bit more for this, and this results in less autotune, or not necessarily less autotune, but it switches to the correct note slower, but this works better for the genre. Obviously, you can adjust this more based on your ability to actually hit the notes, but this is just what I use personally.
All these niggas be so fast and I need.
Alright, next up I'm using Autotune Artist. I'm using Artist instead of Pro because really you don't need Pro. Like, Artist really covers all you need in Autotune. In all honesty, you could use Autotune Artist, EFX, Pro, really any of them work perfectly fine, but I prefer Artist because it's pretty simple, but it's also like, it has all the knobs that you need. I don't use Autotune Artist anymore, but when I used to, I had the Retune set to 5, Flex Tune set to 5, and Humanize set to 5 whenever I was making hyperpop. Similar to what I said for Waves, when you're doing hyperpop, you don't have to worry about having too much autotune typically, so keeping it all on 5 does the job. For indie rock now, I typically have the retune speed set at 15, the flex tune at 10, and the humanize at 10. Similar to what I said before, if you're doing indie, you don't have too much autotune, so these are optimal settings if you're trying to go for that indie rock, indie pop, or even pop music in general, or anything around that. Another cool thing you can do with Autotune Artist or any of the Autotune plugins is you can go up here and hit Formant, and you can actually turn this back and forth, and this will change the formant of your vocals. So that's like how Wubbs does his vocals and how a lot of hyperpop artists do their vocals, so that's pretty cool too. Another cool thing to know is that if you're dealing with clipping in your vocals, you can go up here to the tracking knob and move it back and forth until it's adjusted properly, and typically it'll remove any clipping from your vocals, because I used to deal with that a lot and it used to really piss me off, but once I learned how to fix it, all my songs got way better and it made me a lot less angry when recording songs. Alright, the last one I'm going to cover is Autotune EVO. This one's pretty simple too. Although it may look complicated, the only real knobs you need to worry about is retune speed and humanize. Typically for hyperpop, I'll have the retune set at 5 and the humanize set at 0. You don't really need to adjust any other settings, this works perfectly fine. For indie rock, however, I'd have the retune speed set to 15 and the humanize set to 10 because this works best for me. Another cool thing similar to the Autotune Artist, you can go up here and hit Formant, and you can actually change the throat length here too. In my opinion, the Autotune EVO Formant shift is way better than the Autotune Artist Formant shift, but that's just my opinion. If you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching. Sorry I haven't uploaded in so long. I went to California and I got COVID, so I was fucked up for like a week, but I came back and I'm good now, so I'm gonna upload a lot now. Also, if you haven't already, you should definitely join my Discord server. It's pretty active right now and we're doing a lot of cool VC stuff, so yeah, go join that. And yeah, keep grinding.
Breaking back, nah. X-Face keeping tabs on me. If you're mad, that's guaranteed. Ain't saving money, bitch, I'ma go